Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Kwentong GK. This is your host, Donna Reyes, for another night of Kwentuhan. And I'm very, very excited about our guest, with our guest this evening. Nako, napakahirap niyang hagilapin. She's been so busy. And we are very blessed to have her this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a lawyer, author, and entrepreneur, Miss Rose Cabrera. Yan. Ayan. Hello, hello, Rose. Thank you so much for na pinagbigyan mo kami for joining us this evening as our guest for Kwentong GK tonight. Kumusta na?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Don.
Thanks. I'm very excited about this. Giselle has told you that you are one of my dream guests. Napakarami namang dream guests, di ba? But of course, you're one very special person for me personally because, we go a long way, right? We go way back. I joined Gawad Kalinga in 2003. And obviously, you started with GK much earlier than that, but you were really one of the people who inspired me to work for GK, to work for the poor, and, to continuously to do that to this day. So maraming salamat, and I'm very excited na makakakwentuhan kita. We're going to have a really good conversation tonight. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are really excited to see you, this evening. I know marami nang na-miss ka, right? There's so many people who miss you. First of all, I apologize to everyone kasi parang meron tayong technical difficulties this evening na iba yung the way we're doing live on Zoom. So I'm glad that we figured it out. Thank you, Chrissy, our marketing person from GK USA, for helping us figure that out. And also Lovely for assisting us this evening. Before we start our conversation, Rose, I'd like to invite everyone if they have any comments and if they just want to, shout out, say hi, or whatever, please feel free to do so. Chrissy is sharing with us your comments and your questions that you will be posting on down below on the comment part of the post. Mag-headphone lang ako kasi parang meron tayong background noise. Can you hear me? Okay ba ako? Oops, nawala yata ang, hello? Ayan. Can you hear me, Rose? You're
yes.
Good? Okay. So, Rose, kumusta ka na? Kumusta na ang buhay-buhay? How have you been?
Okay naman. Well, with the COVID pandemic, so everything kind of turned, got crazy. Yeah, pero okay, very good. I can't complain.
You look great. You look amazing. Oh my gosh. Sabi ko nga, artista pala yung aking guest this evening. Oh my goodness.
Nagpa-parlor ako, hindi.
No, you look great. You look great. Well, you haven't aged at all and haven't seen you in many years. So, well, let's start with, for those people, I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who are watching us this evening, know you and have known you for years, that you've served the poor through Gawad Kalinga, and then later on G-Economics, and then Mabuhay Rest Stop. Oh my goodness, where, I don't think there's nothing stopping you from, you just come up with all these really creative, amazing ideas. But let's start with, for the benefit of those who might not have met you, how did you start your work with Gawad Kalinga?
I think I visited my first Gawad Kalinga community in 1998. No? So ilan yun? 20 whatever years ago. No? 1998, I was a member of Singles for Christ that time. As you may know, Gawad Kalinga started with Couples for Christ. It's a Catholic renewal community, and it was the expression of our love for God, the social renewal aspect of it. So I embraced it fully. I fell in love with the work the moment I set eyes on the Gawad Kalinga site. That time it was called Angkop. And then I think 5 years later, that was 98, I was asked to lead the work in the US. Uh, and I couldn't say no. So I went full time in 2003. I served as executive director. Actually, 2001 was when I started, but the official GK 777 campaign was launched 2003.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh my gosh, GK 77. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Just
Yeah.
brought me back memories.
Yeah, I went full time. I quit my job. I was practicing as a lawyer then in LA. I just felt the urgency of the work. So after a year of going back and forth, my husband finally supported my decision to quit and go full time for GK. So 2003, I did that. And I served for about 7 years because 2008, I moved to the Philippines for a few years. But actually, those few years turned out to be 9 years because I moved. Yeah, I
Wow.
stayed there till 2017. And then I moved back to the US 2017. So
Yeah.
we've been shuttling back and forth between Philippines and the US up until last year when the COVID
Mhm.
pandemic hit.
So now I know you went to STC, right? St. Teresa's College, which is one of the most progressive, I think, colleges in the Philippines. So it might not come as a surprise, for people, especially, those people who are familiar with STC. I know Tita Josie, Sister
Maricel.
House also went to, right? Went to STC. So
Yeah.
hindi na siguro, it might not come as a surprise for them to see you do work for the poor, and be involved in nation building because of that, because you were raised in that in a progressive institution. But I can just imagine how, or was it difficult for you to quit your job? As a lawyer, you would have been one of the first Filipino judges, right, in Southern California. And that would have been a really lucrative career. And considering just how brilliant you are, I'm pretty sure you would have built a really good practice, right, in law. And you would have served your people also, in especially in Southern California, in that, if you pursued that career. But was it a difficult decision?
Yeah, in fact, Dons, that was really my goal then. I was actually working towards that to be a judge in LA. I was first working towards a partnership in my firm, and then, and I was doing pro tem work. I was doing small claims court as a judge pro tem. So I was getting there. But
Mhm.
at the same time, around, at that time, this was all happening. I love my career. I love my legal practice, but I also felt the greater calling to serve the poor. I just felt then that, let somebody else be the next film judge. But I think I needed at that point in time to serve as the executive director of FANCOP to build up the network of GK in the USA, to really help the work in the Philippines, because we all have our roles in this work. Diba? Even if you have the funds, you couldn't do it without the heroes on the ground. Now the
Right.
heroes on the ground, even if they're willing to do it, they can't do it without resources, and the advocates and the partners. So it's such a beautiful integration, of really how everybody can work together to bayanihan to help the poor and build our country. So I did that. I embraced it, and I felt I had to do it full time. So it wasn't easy, but it's been worthwhile, and it's been very fulfilling.
And we've been blessed because of that, all of us. And because you worked full time, and we really saw how committed you were in growing the work here in the US. From the primers and the templates you would put together, you would visit each area very frequently, right? And you would call all of us, not just area coordinators, or area directors. At that time, you would call us. Like I was in charge of communication at that time, and we would have And they were not like 5-minute calls, huh? They were like an hour, more than an hour calls. Okay, maybe part of that was because I'm also madaldal. I'm very talkative. I don't know if all your phone calls are like that. So sorry naman, di ba? But
It was really fun. Yeah, it was very enriching meeting all, and up to now, we're still friends and we've built up this family, like regardless
yes.
of where we are. So it's such a blessing.
Yes. On that note, speaking of family, let me read some of the greetings that
Yeah.
are now coming in from, sabi siya, sobrang bilis nga, di ba? Because I told you, people are really excited to hear from you. From Tita Linda de Guzman Ramos. Hello, Rose. Nice to see you here and congratulations on your book. And yes, we will talk about the book later on. From Herb, I can never pronounce your last name, Minikofer. Greetings to all. From Dita Freddy Guevara. Tita Freddy! Yay, sabi niya. Sabi niya, yay, my ex-boss and my GCOM teammate together again. Almost, right? Oo nga. One of these days, magdadrive kami sa Las Vegas para together in person. Yan. And he said hello to all GK heroes here. And then from Tita Josie Disterhoff, greetings, Rose. Wonderful to see you on our GK stage. Tell us where you get your extraordinary optimism and energy in life and for your work. Ayan, so magandang segue din yan in what I wanted to ask you next now. So you went, like you mentioned earlier, you moved to the Philippines, lived there for about 9 years. You weren't planning on 9 years at that time when you moved.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just about maybe 2 to 4 years at the most.
Yeah. So you ended up staying there though for 9 years. And during that time, you built Geekonomics.
Yeah.
Is that one of the programs of Gawad Kalinga or is it a separate entity? How does that work?
It's a separate entity, but we're a partner of Gawad Kalinga in social enterprise development. Kasi nga, that was, if you remember, the 21-year timeline for GK, diba? 7 years, 7 years, 7 years. So 2009, we were right around the time we were ushering in the second phase of the work, which is the social artistry phase.
Mhm.
The first phase was social justice. That's when we opened the floodgates of generosity. So tama-tama rin nga lawyer ako kasi nga social justice, it's really about building a lasting foundation, diba, for social justice for future generations. That's what we are doing in GK. So the second phase, the next 7 years, was social artistry. So it's the best for the least, where we really engage those who have excelled, who are the professionals, parang adding science to the spirit. And Geekonomics was born around the same time as Human Nature, as the GK Enchanted Farm, no? Because we needed to sustain the work that we've started in GK. So how do you do that? And to us, it was social entrepreneurship. So Gawad Geekonomics is a platform for social enterprise development. We facilitate social impact investments for the poor. Although when we started, we really didn't know what we were doing. We just wanted to do livelihood projects, crafts here and there. But then we also realized we had to really think bigger. We really had to make sure that the work we're doing is sustainable. And we had to learn a lot about social entrepreneurship. So that's what we did. So the first 6 years, 7 years of Geekonomics really was a steep learning curve for us. And in 2016, we kind of pivoted. We knew our core competence. We focused on that. And so now we really are, hopefully, we're really doing what we're supposed to do at this point in time of the work.
So how is it different from the social enterprises that are born out of GK Enchanted Farm? Is it different or is it supporting it? How do they
operate? Yeah, we support social entrepreneurs. Because at first, when we started, our first effort was I don't know if you remember, the Sunshineville in Las Piñas community. They were doing the Doy Pack, the Zesto.
Yeah.
So they did pouches, they did bags, they bought silver bags. So this was kind of one of our very first communities. And so we started doing that, and then we worked with communities all over the Philippines. But then, of course, there were only 5 of us. I founded Geekonomics with 4 other amazing women. We were all GK volunteers. Tony Melota, brought us together and said, ladies, help us. How can we sustain this work? So,
Yeah.
um, we gave birth to Geekonomics a year after, 2009. And then we realized, okay, so we started doing this. In fact, we did the Wow GK, or, we sent a container full of GK products. I think that was 2008, 2009. No? And we learned so much from that. And because we realized that, yes, people are going to buy at first to support the cause, petty buys, mga ganon. But if it's not really something that the market needed, then it's not going to succeed. And
Yeah.
so we had to really think like business people. And so that's what happened. And there were only 5 of us, so we realized, okay, if we really want to scale this, we cannot be running these businesses ourselves. Our gift or our core competence is connecting people, cheerleading, finding them partners, network, client, investors, whatever they need. So over the years, we had to really let go of we the idea is to really nurture the community-based entrepreneurs, match them with people or partners who could help them, and really scale the work that we're doing. So we eventually gravitated towards that. My other co-founder, Pinky Poe, she ended up being part of the pilot batch of the Ateneo Masters in Social Enterprise program under Dr. Morato. Dr. Morato, the late
Wow.
Dr. Morato, he's really the guru of social entrepreneurship in the Philippines. And he really took Pinky under his wing. Pinky learned so much from him. And that's also how Pinky became also a social entrepreneur herself. She set up ATBP, which is like the accounting, tax, business processes firm supporting social enterprises. So, ang galing kasi, all the
Yeah.
things she learned, Geekonomics, all these little things we did, she's now able to apply them as she supports the other social entrepreneurs who really are committed to work with the poor. So it's very exciting. So essentially that's what we're doing. We identify social entrepreneurs who are really committed to work with communities and bring the poor with them in their businesses, who have the competence to run businesses, who have also made taya, all that. So we support them. We try to, give them the resources that they need as best we can so that they will succeed. Of course, our peg for successful social entrepreneurship is human nature. And so we want to have more enterprises like that. And so we provide, well, hopefully, the support system to be able to do that.
So, what are some of the challenges you've encountered on both sides, right? For example, with people you want to, people from the community you'd like to help put, a social enterprise together, right? Or to build a business. And also on the other side, was it difficult to find, what do you call them? Hindi naman sponsor, di ba? Parang partner, right? Who would mentor the social entrepreneur, the would-be social entrepreneur from the community. What are some of the challenges you and Pinky and the group faced in putting that together?
Well, a key challenge, of course, for us is really marketing the products of the communities, because a lot of our communities, like for example, the one in Lake Cebu, they have beautiful products, beautiful crafts, Filipino artistry at its best. But it's just sometimes so hard to find the market for them. So we have tried. We also have designers, fashion designers, interior designers who are really willing to help us. So we have engaged them in some of our projects so that they can add value to whatever skills that our communities have. So we did that in Cilia. It was like it was a beautiful project spearheaded by Marie Vic, where the top interior designers and architects in the Philippines created designer chairs made by communities. But the problem again with that, so it was very successful. I think we raised over 1 million for that initial. But how do you sustain that? So the idea was to find an entrepreneur who will continue to market these chairs or whatever furnitures that this big time designers are willing to design for our communities. No, how?
Right.
So we needed someone like that. Mag-market sa hotels, sa resorts, You
Yeah.
know, who will do that? And again, we in economics, we were not in the position to do that because we had other things on our plate. So we
Right.
needed a marketing company to do that. So
Yeah.
eventually that led to Assam. It's supposed to be our company that will market, that will serve to bridge the communities to the market. That's really the vision for it. And we got
Mhm.
initial investors for that and all that. So, but again, it's easier said than done. It's a beautiful vision. You know, we had elements in place, you know, products, designers, money,
Mhm.
communities, no? But it really takes the heart of a social entrepreneur to take it to the next level. So that's work in progress. So if there's
Right.
a social entrepreneur right there, out there who's really interested in marketing and connecting all the social enterprises and communities with the market, you can be part of the work. You know, so things like that. And well, a success story that recently I think I shared about it in my blog. I have a blog. Yung
Mhm.
she's a jewelry designer, a British jewelry designer, and she was looking for a partner community to make her jewelry. So, tama we had this entrepreneur in Tacloban, jewelry designer din siya, working with the GK Palano community in Tacloban. They make jewelry. And so, but again, you know, okay, when's the next order? When's the next order? Because we initially ordered from them. We helped them sell to SM Cultura and all that. Pero syempre, what else? So, good thing is we were able to match them. Chicanamos was able to match Claire Hines, the jewelry designer, with matched her with the community. So she ended up going there. We facilitated that, training
Mhm.
them. And so yeah, now 4 years later, she still orders from them, and she's now back in the US. But beautiful work, really beautiful work. And she has since expanded to other like handbags now. And
Right.
so we want more of those, you know, like really being able to showcase the crafts and artistry of our communities, and having someone who's really good in marketing and designing and whatever,
Mhm.
be the one to really sell it to the world, to showcase their work.
Right.
So we want
Right.
more of
So
those.
parang yung economics is really bridging, right? These people and these groups of people to work together
Mhm.
to sell the products and in market it to hopefully to the world, right? Not just in the Philippines. Okay. So
We
since
help, sorry, I like our Happy
no go.
Helpers also. Is a very inspiring social enterprise. You know, they clean homes and offices and all that, and we help them also get started with the GK Taguig community. But now you know, they're growing. They're gonna be sharing in our next assembly on May 1. So anyway, super inspiring. So may mga ganun talagang social entrepreneurs who really uh, talagang nagtsatsaga talaga sila, really. Of course, it's hard enough running a business, but it's even much,
Mhm.
you know, even harder trying to really facilitate the community dynamics of working with disadvantaged communities. But they're committed.
Right.
So inspiring.
Actually, this just reminded me of an interview I did for Philam Now with, I don't know if you, I was going to connect the two of you. Si Charis Aquino Togade, do you remember? I
Um,
mentioned her to you.
yeah, you tried. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
but
Don't.
for some
Yeah,
reason, the
yeah,
schedules did not work or whatever.
yeah.
But she established the Manila Collectible
Yeah.
and she works with indigenous people. So she sells their products, promote the culture. Ang whole ano niya is for us to understand who we are as a people so that we can better, we can better obviously, face our challenges or deal with our challenges and also, grow right as a people. But anyways, she said that it was difficult. That it is difficult to work with, for example, with people in the community because of sometimes differences in culture because there's the Filipino culture and your Filipino American culture and the culture of Americans with Filipino blood, right? Those are all three different, right, cultures, even though we're all Filipino. And she said, like sometimes she mentioned a very specific example. She said, if she ordered tinalak, for example, and she needed, I don't know, 20 feet, it will be like 19 feet and 10 inches. So kulang siya ng
Yes.
magkukulang siya ng 2 inches and they would think that it's okay.
Okay.
Or like the nanay, for example, the child gets sick or whatever, and and no one will take care of the child. So then they would delay the delivery, right, to the supplier, to the buyer, and so on and so forth. So my question to her is, what keeps you going? Despite all these challenges, it has to be very frustrating. So my question is the same to you. What kept you going, despite those kinds of challenges? Those challenges are not naman impossible to resolve, but it must be very, very difficult because you're dealing with culture. Yung yung okay sa kanila may not be okay in the business world, kind of thing. So why is it so important for you to go on, and what kept you going?
Because
what keeps you
to us,
going? Because it's there.
That's what social entrepreneurship is all about, diba? It's not a transactional thing where you just end up buying or hiring people from the poor communities. No, it's not that. It's the transformative aspect, the mentorship, the building of the relationship, diba? I remember in our early days, with this and other communities, because we would get orders for corporate giveaways from the big companies. Syempre, because of the GK name and economics name, they would order their giveaways from us, Accenture, mga ganyan, mga Smart, Globe. So that translated to a lot of orders. So we would order from the communities. And then sometimes see the Pinky Specialist, Cecile, they get so frustrated because we commit to a delivery date, and then later, may namatay or so stop work for 3 days. Hindi pwede. Parang we really had to instill that discipline, that work ethic times. Of course, it's not like you're heartless, diba? But still, like what you're saying, the business world reality is, you cannot make an excuse, or somebody died, you had to make lamay, whatever, diba? You had to deliver on that date. So, talagang minsan tempted na sila, let's buy in Divisoria na lang para makadeliver ganyan. But of course, no. It's really it's part of the experience, and it's so beautiful to see naman the transformation in the communities that we work with. So like for example, also the our sewing enterprises, our sewing communities, because usually sewing is a very common skill in poor communities, and it's easy to do within their community because the sewing machine is in their home or it's in the center right there. They can still take care of their kids, no, pero again, the limitation for them is there are no clients other than their family or their neighbors. Ganon, diba? So what Economics and Assam eventually did for them is to find them orders. Ganon, so we were able to get like orders, like 1 million worth orders, uniforms or bags or whatever. No, that meant a lot to them. It changed a lot of lives, of our sewing communities, and so hopefully we want to continue that. Medyo, of course, negatively impacted by COVID, but we really hope to continue that because that's very promising. The business model is really sustainable. It works, and we've seen how thankful the sewing communities are for orders. And because we like for example in Lipa, we were not Lipa. Basta in Batangas, we were in one site. They were sewing shorts, no? Parang order sa kanila ng somebody selling in Divisoria, and they were being paid like a 60 pesos for 12 shorts. Diba? And it was so, well, parang we just felt, we were talking with our staff, if we were the one ordering that kind of shorts, how much would we be paying? So we would be paying 10 times more. So no wonder, like there were 12 machines in that community, only 4 were being used. The other nanais didn't want to use them because it's not worth it. They'd rather do something else than do the sewing for 60 pesos for a dozen shorts, diba? Parang, so that's what we wanted to do more of, is to open up markets for them and have them get paid fairly and I guess more generously than others. So
so it really is a long-term commitment. Like you said, hindi siya transactional. It's a relationship, but it's really a long-term commitment because this cultural challenges and all of that, it takes time to not address. You're obviously addressing them now, but it takes time to see all these changes to happen. And bless your heart and Pinky's and everyone's heart in G-Economics for having that kind of commitment, right? To work with the communities and help them, with the livelihood and everything. Now, before I transition over to Mabuhay Rest Stop, which I'm also excited to talk about, I've been to Mabuhay Rest Stop a couple of times. I just want to read a couple more greetings here from Tita Tess Castro, Rose Cabrera, a woman of power and passion, and best that GK met its match in her. I agree 100%. And then from Benny Mata Dichoso, hi Rose. It's been many years is what he meant, since I met you in Manila. From Marisa Bravo, very good Rose. And then from her, please provide details on your book so I can order a copy. My email is, and pinrovide the email niya. And then, what else? From Rizal, Bayani Ong Cabrera, watching from LA. And then, that's it ata. Wait lang. Oh, Tito Freddy says, that's one of the many GK intangibles. Relational, not transactional, that becomes a challenge in the non-social enterprise business. And then from Maricel, thank you, Rose. You never paused in this work. Wherever you find yourself, you will always be an inspiration. Glad to have you back in the US. Let's help those communities. All right. So let's talk about Mabuhay Rest Stop. So what's the inspiration behind Mabuhay Rest Stop? Of all the, businesses or business ideas, you could possibly have, pursued, why Mabuhay Rest Stop? And let's first tell our friends here what Mabuhay Rest Stop is.
Actually, wala siya na ngayon But Mabuhay Rest Stop, it's a travel, it's a social tourism enterprise.
Okay.
There was a travel cafe in Luneta. And we were facilitating exceptional Philippine experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspired me to set it up is really, remember our work with GK, our build, Bayanihan Build. So we would organize tours for PhilAms, for Americans to go to the Philippines and experience it in a unique way, in a different way, not the usual touristy kind of way. So usually it's like a 5-day, 7-day tour package where, yes, they get to see Boracay and all the other tourist spots, but they also spend a few days in a GK community. And it usually turns out to be the highlight of their trip because it's beautiful. And that's how I got into GK, was seeing meeting the people, seeing the work, and really experiencing Filipino culture firsthand, the beauty of the Filipino hospitality firsthand. So I wanted to offer that experience, not just to GK volunteers or GK partners, but to everybody who visits the Philippines. So that's why I set up Mabuhay Rest Stop. And Luneta, because of course it's our national park.
Yes.
Kilometer 0 of the Philippines. And so and it was a very of course it's very difficult, but very fulfilled. It's a very enriching experience. I'm my late friend Nestor Torre helped us a lot also because he's a director, writer director. So he directed a lot of our shows, wrote and directed a lot of our shows, Manila Vanilla. He encouraged me to really promote Philippine culture and arts, and we were doing workshops. He was he was introducing me to his friends, the best script writer in the Philippines, artists, and they were willing also to help in our work. So we were giving our GK kids exposure to the best for the least talaga. And so that was very good. We operated Mabuhay Resta for 6 years. And then I moved back to the US now to 2017.
Oh, so that's why you closed.
Another year. Yeah, but I hope, hopefully someday soon, maybe when my son's in college, I can go back and revive it again. I was also inspired. If you read my book, my sister set up maybe 10 years before Mabuhay Rest Stop a business called Promdi Delhi and Kainan, where she she curated local specialties from all over the Philippines because of her courier business. And she would bring them to the Philippines, and she would have these carts all over selling the specialties from different part of the Philippines. So parang yun yung ganun ba? And then she was also serving in her prom di kainan, specialties also from the different provinces. So that also served as inspiration for Mabuhay Rest Stop. So it was a whole experience, not just the tours, but also food, the shows, the arts, ganon. So it was a one-stop shop.
So what compelled you to move back to the US? Akala ko nga you'll be in the Philippines not forever and ever.
No, well, if it were up to me, I would. But sometimes you have to make choices though. Kasi my son, I have a son, Rafa.
Yes,
He's
Rafa.
growing up fast.
Who's very good looking, by the way. Oh my God.
Of course,
I cannot believe how,
This, no? Yeah,
how much he's grown already. He was like, this small kid, makulit, when
he used to dance pa nga, di ba?
Yes, I remember. Oh my gosh.
Kiniklingan man lalating, no? So no,
yes.
Now no more na. But yeah, well, we felt because we wanted him to grow up with his cousins his age, and also to spend time with his grandparents, Bong's parents. And that wouldn't happen if you're in the Philippines because they're based in the States, so they would only go to the Philippines once a year. So it was okay, but then we really felt it was very important. Those critical years, and of course, Bong's parents, they're not getting any younger, so you really just need to make choices like that. And it's okay, we felt the opportunities in the Philippines will always be there, and we can serve anywhere we are.
Exactly.
But then so that's why we moved back in 2017. And so far so good naman. It's just imagine if we still had Mabuhay Rest Stop with the COVID. Oh my God, parang
parang nga, di ba? So so now you didn't have to deal with that. It would have been a nightmare talaga. But yeah, as you know, Robbie and I also moved back. We lived in the Philippines 2011 to early 2014, and then we moved back 2014 to the US. And what I realized too is that,
Congrats on your master.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Praise God. But what I realized though is that it does not make you less Filipino to live in the US. So in fact, there's also so much work to do here, right? And as you know, with GK USA, we're always needing some warm bodies, right? The cheer and the hello, Tito Freddy. The cheering and the support, moral support are all good and always appreciated. Tumatawa yun si Maricel. Are always appreciated, but we always need, there's so much work to do. I did not re-engage with GK USA until 2019, July 2019. So took me rin, 5 years, diba, before I could really, I was never away either, but to have an active role, was only not until July 2019. But there's so much work, I realized. So anyway, so there's some more greetings. Wow, sabi ko na nga ba eh. Let's see. From Lisandro Tolentino. Hi, Tita Cel, and go Tita Rose. Rafa is good at soccer, he said. Magaling daw na soccer player. And then from Jainab, hi Rose and Donna. Hi Jainab, what a great morning to see you both. Thank you so much, Jainab, for tuning in. And also Mara Salvacion.
Yeah, Mara's my partner in Mabuhay Rest Stop.
Oh, okay. She shared the link to Amazon on the comment. Thank you. I did read your book, so let's transition. I read all of the cover to cover na. It didn't take me very long to talagang one sitting na siya. It's really inspiring, Rose, how your sister Techi, has been doing business and and serving at the same time. And this is actually one of the, I guess, one of the questions I really wanted to ask you is, usually, and then I've experienced this kind of dilemma also, and I actually honestly, with all transparency also, I continue to experience, to have this dilemma. There, I guess I tend to compartmentalize, get you, how do I say this? Making a profit and serving at the same time. I always felt like they're two different things, right? So when I work, I expect to get paid because it's work, right? When I provide a service or sell a product, then I expect to make a profit. But when I serve, I don't expect to make anything, right? But social entrepreneurship, right, is, I guess that it's really both, right? You're able to serve, and provide service, or to reach out to people, help people, etc., and then make a profit at the same time. What's your what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's a business first and foremost. It's um, because of course we've been burned so many times with just wanting to help and not. You're doing them a disfavor because you're not able to sustain it. You just raise their hopes, and so there has to be a business model that will work for whatever it is you're doing. So it is really a business first and foremost. But at the same time, you also make a conscious decision, diba? To um to bring the people who work um, for you with you. So it's not really just focusing on your own personal profits, but also making sure that you're also bringing them with you to the finish line. What does that mean exactly? I think that a key component of that is the mentorship and empowerment of the people you work with. No, you don't. It just doesn't end up like a 9 to 5 paid job, diba? There's a relationship there, um, and you see them rising to their fullest potential. You see them also becoming agents of change in their respective communities. I mean, that's the idea. Of course, it's very hard in social entrepreneurship. Really could be a very lonely journey, and that's why Geekonomics for us. That's why we exist. We want to make the social entrepreneurs feel that they're part of a bigger family, that they're not doing it all on their own. We have what we call a Geekonomics Entrepreneur Circle. So right now there are about 25 social enterprises who are part of it. And of course, uh, we're really welcoming more because the idea is to really grow social enterprises in the Philippines and
Mhm.
make it really a vehicle of building that nation, building our nation. Um, we we're very passionate about it because of course the companies they have CSR, the regular
Mhm.
company CSR, and
Yeah.
it's wonderful. They really help a lot of communities and a lot of people. But if we can really multiply that beyond CSR to really becoming part of your business model, becoming
Mhm.
part of your culture, corporate culture, the caring. Um, that's why for me really human nature, and
You
I've been
want
chatting
I was Yeah, I was gonna
with
say.
yeah, because uh the way it's radical, sometimes counterintuitive, especially some of the things they're doing are not really are frowned upon in the business sense, diba?
Right, right.
But obviously it's working for them, they're making money, and so it's very interesting to document. I've been bugging Dylan to let me write about him and about their work.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Dylan had joined us here on Quantum GK also, and was one of the, he shared a lot of just, oh my God, amazing ideas, but also almost
Radical.
unbelievable. Well, they're unbelievable, but believe them because they actually do it, right? For example, no fighting policy. What? Who does that, right? No firing policy. And then he
Exactly.
also shared about this somebody who stole from them, took him back, and it's just
Yeah.
really unheard of, right? And you would think that that kind of businessman would just lose, you know, everything, including his shirt, right? To all of these, I know, but it works for them. You're right, and if it's possible for human nature, I'm pretty sure it's not easy. It takes a really brave heart to do something like that. All right. So, meron ka pa uling ano. From Tito Charlie Rose, I'm still reading your book. Great
Tagal na
reading.
naman ba si Charlie?
Ako kasi, I downloaded the one sa Kindle. So it's on my phone and I read it all. Ayan, di ba? I would still love a
Paperback.
autograph copy. I can order on Amazon too, but then how can I get your autograph?
I'll send you.
Okay, yay! And then he said, great reading, your family's amazing. But to me, you are even more amazing. You are an inspiration not only to all women, but also to us weaker sex.
Tita Char.
Tito Charlie, you will lose your man card now. But yeah, but I agree though. I mean, it's really an amazing book, Rose. You really captured. Well, of course, I don't know. I've never met Etchi in person, but I feel like I really know her. I can just imagine her, being her gregarious self and loving, who loves dancing and, who's, she's an entrepreneur. She runs a family, a business, but she's able to really take care of her employees. That is super amazing. So, but I know though that you wrote this book. The proceeds of this book goes towards something special, something special that you're building, right, or supporting. So tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, it goes to Geekonomics. But
Yes.
primarily one of the enterprises we're incubating, it's called Click Mobile Education. Click Me. Actually, we've been incubating it for 7 years now. So talagang, it's so hard, but we're not giving up. Because
We can't give up, right?
kasi nga, it was brought to us in 2013 by Freddie Tinga. He used to be mayor and congressman of the Gig, diba? So
Yes.
he presented to us his idea or his Click Escuela concept. And we felt, Pinky and I, we said, no, we can't do that. We're not educators. That's not our forte. We're already busy with our livelihood projects and all our enterprises. We cannot do education anymore. But then we took a step back, prayed about it, and really thought, and we felt, you know what? All these things we're doing in Geekonomics, they're really just stopgap measures then. Parang you cannot break the cycle of poverty if you don't address the root cause, which is the educational problem of our people, diba? And so as we got more and more involved, we realized, oh my God, only like 40% of Filipinos are drop out of school. So they never finish high school, diba? And then you wonder, no wonder we have this kind of like electorate, society, diba? The poverty, the because of that lack of education. And then what's being done to this
To address it, yeah.
Because a lot of the resources, of course, there's not enough resources, but whatever there is, usually go towards the formal schooling system. Diba? These buildings, the structures, and of course, they're very much needed. But all these dropouts, wala na. Parang nothing's really, well, of course, there's a small bureau within the DepEd called the BALS, Bureau of Alternative Learning System. Pero syempre, very short-handed sila. So that's where we felt the need was. And that's how Click Mobile Education evolved, that we wanted to help address that. What is being done to the school dropouts to help them towards productivity. And so with Click Me, we have a program, it's 4 components. So the ALS, Alternative Learning System, which will hopefully, this gives them a high school diploma.
Okay. Is it accredited by?
Yeah, accredited by
department?
We have an alternative learning system because nga nag-drop out na sa formal schooling eh. So they have this alternative path where when the dropout meets certain requirements, they can get the equivalent of a high school diploma. So that means a lot, diba? That can get a job, a regular job, a good job, kahit paano. So we help them with that, with doing the ALS requirements. And then second is skills training, so life skills. Very important, of course, the life skills. Very basic, just speak English, hygiene, professionalism, visioning, self, identity, mga really life skills that are we take so much for granted, but mean so much for our school youth, diba? Third, technical skills. So our priority for the technical skills training is the digital literacy. Just for them to know how to use the computer, for them to know how to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Oh my God, it raises their employability na, diba?
Yes.
And so with Click, we provide that kind of skills training. Especially, we are part of the Click team is the Mint College, Meridian International.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So they're also co-founders of Click, and so they have been very generous in allowing us to use their facilities. They provide IT, the training for digital literacy skills for our learners, and of course for our facilitators. So that's the third component, technical skills. But of course, aside from that, we also work with TESDA and HBSET. No, they have technical skills training in different sewing, hairdressing, whatever, no, with the NC2 certification. So again, this will help our learners get employed. And then the fourth is OJT, on the job training. So like we're inspired by the model of Dual Tech, where their graduates go through an OJT with a company for 18 months and they end up getting hired. So something like that. We wanted to arrange this kind of access to those opportunities for our school dropouts. So we did that for the first, I think, from 2000 for 3 years, 2017 to last year. We piloted in 2 communities in Payatas and Smoky Mountain. We piloted Click Me, and we learned so much, di ba? Parang how to really make it work. So kasi 3 things talaga, learning has to be accessible, interesting, and relevant. So accessible, di ba? They can go anywhere. Doon lang sila sa community nila. How do they learn? So that's where the mobile app comes in. Interesting, alam mo naman, syempre mga bata, alam parang, very short attention span. They're not gonna read modules.
Pati nga matanda eh.
Ay, sa bagay. Yeah. Because the DepEd modules for us, they're in paper format. Wala nang konti na lang nagbabasa talaga. So how do you get their interest? So again, the mobile app, the idea is to gamify, incentivize, diba? So the learning becomes interesting. Because what use are all these modules if they're not being watched, if they're not being used, diba? So you have to get their attention. So the idea is for our Click mobile app, there's this contest or whatever, may points sila, or I don't know, parang something like that. It's really going to catch their attention, and they're going to want to try and learn and use the ALS system so that they can get a high school diploma, parang ganon. And then third, relevant, di ba? You have to teach them skills that will prepare them for careers of the future. Ano ba yon? Of course, una computer, di ba? Parang, so parang, that's the idea. It's an ambitious goal. With a Click mobile app, we really felt we cannot, like the 2 communities we did in Payatas and Smoky, oh my God, if we want to scale that, imposible. We have very limited resources. Iilan lang kami. How are we gonna do that? Hindi pa talaga. So we have to use technology. Yes. We have to maximize whatever technology is available out there, to make sure we can scale this work and give the millions of high school dropouts access to these learning resources. Right. So that's what we're trying to do.
So how does one qualify? How does one qualify?
To what? To be a learner?
Yeah, to get into the program.
Well, for now, we've stopped the pilot kasi nga we want to focus on completing the mobile app. Because it's been work in progress for years na. Yeah. So this year, 2021, ayun ang aming goal. Tapusin siya by December.
Oh, okay.
Have the app up and running by, so that all our focus resources are poured into finishing the app this year. Yeah. And
so the proceeds of the book. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So by next year, the idea is to kick it off and have the app available all over the Philippines. No, kahit sa remote, sa Sulu, then we won't need physical structures. We won't need talaga. Of course, you'll still need facilitators, learning facilitators, but that can also be done using technology. So yun that's the idea we're working on. The money that we've been raising, because we targeted to raise at least 1 million for the mobile app. But it's not enough, but we're gonna multiply it just like the fish and the loaves, diba?
Yes.
But the idea is, with this we can pay the coders, no? We can pay the content developers. We can, of course, pay Lisa. Lisa is our head of the Click. Of course, obviously people can't be doing this pro bono. They have bills to pay. They have to eat,
Yes.
provide for
Hindi
the family.
sustainable. Yeah.
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 So we're really being very creative about it. I mean that's the way we've always been in GK, di ba? Parang with this much, try to do that much. So
Yeah.
we're trying. And yun
No,
nga,
no,
kasi
no, we have to put it out there because kung walang Rose Cabrera who would start this in your group, right? Who would start this, then wala, then we will never achieve anything. It has to, everything comes, everything starts with an idea,
yeah.
right? And then we all work together.
Yes.
It was never work of one person anymore,
Yes.
especially with Gawad Kalinga.
Yes.
Work together.
Diba?
Actually, in connection to that, I think it might have been si Bing Importante who mentioned this, how, so in the communities, how it's difficult for them to do online class now because they don't even have cell phones. O lalo naman tablets, they don't have tablets to, to even study. So my heart just breaks, when I heard that story, because I think it was also Leslie Tikia, who's our area director here in Chicago, who mentioned na nag-share daw. They all share this one, like tiny cell phone, to listen to the teacher, and they go like this. They look for signal and all of that. You think they're doing selfie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Pero yun nga I mean, parang sinasabi rin minsan, kahit gaano ka kahirap, you have a cellphone. I mean, for some.
True. Yeah.
And for me, yes, that's reality. But also at the same time, I see a lot of resources out there, wastage, or even people or groups willing to help or helping in this aspect of the work. But we just need to channel them towards something.
Yeah.
Parang, like before, di ba, Father Ben Neves used to say, GK is for the intelligent heart. Yeah, we all have bleeding hearts to help, but sometimes it really helps to have a system or a vision, so that all the help you're giving really goes towards a concrete and feasible, sustainable outcome, di ba? So that's the idea.
Yeah, I love it.
People are helping in education, diba? Yung mga companies, some of the telcos, they're willing to provide internet access to our poor communities, diba? Parang there's a way to limit it para lang dito lang sila sa click. Whatever, parang ganun daw, diba?
Right.
And yung ganun. And then yung mga cellphone companies, a lot of them are also willing to provide
exactly.
Mga NGOs international, they provide. So parang why not? Siguro once we really have a good model to show, I believe, I just trust.
I agree. I think, the challenge for us, GK workers, is to learn how to mobilize resources even more efficiently. Because, like you said, you have an idea, you have, you put it together, as long as it's a solid, plan, then it's, it will be easier for people to, okay, ako na taya dyan, so I can take care of that, right? I mean, just think about people who are changing phones every 2 years. Right? Oh my gosh, they're this big phones. And you think about those, ako lang, meron akong maliit na cell phone that, oh my God, I don't even know if it works though. But I'm just saying, I don't change my phone all the time. Like, not even every couple of years. But I know so many people who do.
Oh, diba?
Yes. They get out of the contract or they get whatever deals, right? So what do they do with their old phones? I wonder. Right? So hello, my friends, you know who you are.
It's grabe. I mean, especially kaya rin siguro tayo sa America. There's so much waste out here. So many resources out here. Like for example, ito another idea. Marisa and I have been talking about it also with Jainab and Segunda Mana. Balik, see Forex, JP Carino Forex, willing to ship boxes for our communities, for our poor communities. No? So, pero syempre may bayad pa rin kahit paano, konti na lang. But then the idea is, all these people with all our, not naman junk, but our excesses.
Yes.
Pinabalik-bayan box, and then ship it out to Sulu, to Samar, to Leyte. Super useful sa kanila yung mga clothes, yung mga gamit, yung mga...
Don't send naman fur coats, ha?
No, of course not. That's the idea, is to really make it na alam nila kung ipapadala mo. At saka syempre, so anyway, parang yung ganun ba na we are channeling resources from the first world to those who need the most in the third world.
Agree. Okay, meron pa uling mga, from Rizal Bayani on Cabrera. Rose is our Wonder Woman too. So
Ah.
proud of her. Ah.
It's my mother-in-law.
Seth Kirkwera David or David. It's amazing how you think of so many ways to help people and how you give back to the community. Truly inspiring. I agree, Rose. Oh my gosh. It's like I haven't seen you in many, many years, but it's like it feels like we just talked yesterday kasi yung energy mo is still all-time high. You're always inspired. You're always inspiring. Always,
Dami
aspiring.
ko pang kwento doon sa. We have
I
20
know.
years.
Kahit mag-overtime tayo. I don't care. Wala namang see, the beauty of Kwentong GK is that there's no, TV station who would kick us out when we go overtime.
Ganun na. Oo nga, no?
Diba? Kaya lang, Isa's interview was only cut short because she has a meeting. But if you heard our interview with Dylan, our chat with, oh my gosh, Mark Lawrence, pareho pa madadaldal, diba? So yeah, we went over. Oh, Tito Charlie wanted to know, are you fully funded now developing the Click Me app?
The initial...
maybe how far are you from your goal?
Tito Charlie was one of the first ones who funded our effort in Click Eskwela. Kasi talagang ang nakakatawa. We started out, iba-iba eh. Yung journey namin, super daming mali, ang daming pivots. And Tito Charlie, I honor him because, yun nga, na-burn lahat yung pera namin umpisa. But hindi siya nagalit, alam mo yon, hindi niya kami dinamanda.
I don't think that the Charlie would do that or could do that.
I know. Nakakatawa lang kasi talaga, I mean, when you really look back to our journey, grabe. But again, they had to happen because only through those failures were we able to learn, okay, how should it be done? Parang ganon. So they were necessary, di ba? Failure is the father of success. So okay lang. You just have to hang in there. But yeah, to answer Tito Charlie's question, of course we could use. Kasi syempre, all this, we were also counting a lot of volunteer work for the content development of the app. But it's exciting. Well, we'll see. Yeah, we could use help also. Kasi imagine mo doon itong sabi ko nga, Lisa Moran, she's my partner in Click. She's the one heading all of it in the Philippines. Parang matanda na rin siya, parang ako, no? Parang what do we know?
Kung makatanda ka naman, grabe naman.
What do we know about gamification?
Oh, diba? Okay.
What do we know?
I relate.
What the youth would be interested in, diba? So, parang we just have this idea. This app, itong mga kasi ALS modules, yan parang 7 strands yan, iba-iba, science, math, communication, iba-ibang subjects. Basta the idea is you cannot just ask, parang they would not just read lessons eh. You have to be creative in getting them to learn and gamitin mo yung games, ganon. So parang we were talking, ano ba to? We cannot do it. So obviously we need the expertise of the youth. Yung mga talagang gumagawa ng games, yung talagang nagko-conceptualize ng mga question or whatever, no? So yun, but basta parang for us, although we do have a volunteer, Phil, his name is Zach Wu. He's from San Jose, from San Francisco. And
nice. Hi, Zach.
He's an IT guy, and of course, kabataan. So I'm sure medyo alam niya. Kaya syempre, Phil, diba? I don't know lang kung there's this ang audience mo Pilipinong diba? So we'll see. But it's exciting. It's exciting because yun nga, we're really being creative in approaching this problem because we cannot, diba, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Correct.
So we are trying something new. We don't know yet how, but we trust.
But do you have teachers on board already who might So yun na lang technology part
yes, we also have, like Val Reyes is our IT. He has a team also. So we have IT, but syempre, again, they could use help. So we welcome people who might be into gaming, into gamification, into content development, in education. And it's so exciting kasi, like, for example, my high school batchmates in STC, diba? We did the Hope KKK, Hope Kalinga Contra Corona last year to, as our way of helping in the COVID crisis. But the good thing is, we got reconnected again, and And then, of course, they're saying, okay, what else can we do? So parang I've asked them, can you help with Click? Ganyan, because we could use somebody who to help in the sustainability of it, because you also have to monetize it. You
Yeah,
cannot always just rely on grants and donation. Dapat masustain siya, di ba? So, di ba,
correct.
monetize the app, dapat, ewan ko, yung mga ads, yung mga clicks, yung mga ganyan,
Yes, yes.
sa analytics, gano'n, di ba? Malay ko ba dyan? Gano'n. So, yung mga gano'n. So we are tapping people who are well-versed in that and getting them to contribute to the fulfillment of the work. So, we have like, what, 8 more months? So, hopefully, so exciting.
It sounds pretty exciting. May mga naisip na nga ako specific na ideas, kaya na baka if I mentioned,
Touch
if
mo.
I mentioned live and to the public, baka mapasubo naman sila. And baka ma-preempt. Imbes makuha natin, baka lalo sila mawala.
You know what I'm counting on also, Tony Ola's Filipino School, right?
Yes, of course. We haven't
Tony.
had Tony on the show now.
Yeah, Tony's also part of Click. He was like Tito Charlie,
Nice.
one of the early investors. So
Yeah.
and in fact, I got a call from oh my God, Howie.
Yeah.
We haven't connected yet as far as the actual call. We just said, okay, let's connect. But the idea, and he's helping Tony with Filipino School. So naisip ko na
Yes.
agad, oh my God, I have to find a way to get them to help with this app because because part of the original vision then for the Click is the exchange program. Like parang
Yes.
youth from the US, the PhilAms or whatever, no,
Yeah.
will be interacting with these youth, out of school youth.
From the nice. Yeah.
Diba? Parang meron na kaming, actually we came up with modules actually na parang like for 6 sessions every week they will interact, they have discussion points, no? So the Filipino guy will learn English from the PhilAm guy. The PhilAm guy will learn about Philippine culture or whatever.
And maybe even learn Tagalog from the
Exactly. So parang it's so the concept is there. So we want to incorporate it also in the app.
Right.
Eventually.
That's a great idea. I think it will be a very enriching experience on both sides.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, Rose, nako. And we can go on. Actually, pag nagpaalam tayo, don't leave right away, so we can, para hindi ko alam kasi, like, people who are watching, right? Isisikreto namin ni Rose yung second part. But okay, so it's 12 minutes past 8. But I'd like to invite you to, to share your thoughts, any message to those of us who, who continue to, to work, to continue this work for the poor through Gawad Kalinga. And maybe for some of us who are, meeting you for the first time, seeing you for the first time, thinking about your own journey, and it continues, like I said, parang, oh my gosh, parang yung excitement mo for the work has never, hasn't really, hindi nag-fade. It's all-time high pa rin from when the first time I met you, and I actually remember very vividly the first time I met you too. And ganyan pa rin, ganyan ka-excited, ganyan yung energy and everything. So what would be your message for maybe address the people first who have been here a long time, maybe some of us are getting tired, maybe physically or maybe even emotionally, maybe even spiritually. And for those of us who are joining, who are new into this work.
Yeah. I've had my downtimes also, katamaran, but I just feel that every one of us, each and every one of us really has a role to play in this work. We're all co-workers in God's vineyard. So no matter what your availability is or your financial situation is or your skills are, there is a place for you in this work. And I think that's what we're good at. No, Maricel, me, we find a place for everyone. So if you're only willing to get a volunteer this much or give this much or okay lang yan, no judgments. Because ultimately, we are all part of the work. Now, somehow, God orchestrates everything. And some of us play bigger roles than others. That's okay, but what's important is what's in our heart, diba? And tayo naman, like for us who are leading the work or doing more than others, we realize that that the challenge is upon us, no, to continue no matter what. So we do, and we really, those little messages of support, the likes, you guys, mga like lang, whatever, they mean a lot. They encourage the sharings, the texts. They already mean a lot. You're already doing your part, even by just by just liking or doing something, di ba? Kasi sometimes you never know. Minsan you're at really very down about something, and then all of a sudden you get this message affirming what you're doing, di ba? Parang for me, just don't give up, and don't think that you don't have much to offer, because you do. Everyone does. And it has been, to me, God has affirmed that so many times in this journey of mine, di ba? That, of course, alam mo yung nangyari sa kotse ko, di ba? Nanalo ko ng kotse.
Yeah.
Things every day. There's so many things happening that really God's way of assuring us to continue and to not to lose faith. Even just with this book, no? Imagine, I wrote it in 18 days. I had no idea how to publish a book, but somehow God sent an editor, si Marge Duterte, si Lisa is a professional book editor. So parang people who knew what they were doing and really just guided me along the way. So ganun lang. Just don't be afraid to take the plunge. Don't be afraid to help, because that's not why you're helping, but somehow bumabalik lahat yan. Everything
Yeah.
really, yeah. What goes around comes around.
True. Galing. Yeah, I'm also a recipient of so many blessings ever since I started this work for Gawad Kalinga, and those are things na I never even imagined are going to happen to me, right? Ayan yung my work at GMA Network, for example. I met my boss there through the Global Summit. Who would have thought? Like, alam ko ba na I'm going to the Global Summit because I'm going to meet my would-be boss then, because I would move to the Philippines, 2 years after. Who would know? Only God knows, right? He already has planned that ahead of us. And, it always, everything falls into place. We just have to know, where to put our hearts in, right? And so, yeah, so you mentioned your blog kanina. It is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's www.rosecabrera.com.
Yes.
That's your blog. And you will also get information about her book in that blog. And, and I've also visited your blog already, Rose. So, it's like, I'm really inspired because, it's things that sometimes as I read your blog, there are things that are just going on in your head, but when you read it, yan, you see the sabi ko, that's exactly what I was thinking. And you put it on, you put words into it. And so thank you so much, Rose, for the gift of you to the community, for the gift of friendship. I'm sure this isn't going to be the last. Like I said, please stay on when we say goodbye to our friends here. I just don't want to keep them for baka may mga hindi pa nagdi-dinner dyan. But I wanted to connect with you because I do have some ideas about Click Me and maybe some people that we can also approach to support that project. So on that note, thank you very much, Miss Rose Cabrera, everyone. And thank you to everyone who joined us this evening for another episode, for another Kwentuhan here on Kwentong GK. Please make it a habit every Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific. Good night, everyone.